Start. 3, 2, 1, 0, go.
Good afternoon. I am Nabonita Chaudhuri from Bangladesh. Thank you for joining me. You'll be happy to know that from Bangladesh, 3 BRAC schools have been selected to showcase in the occasion of the World Education Week. Today, we are presenting Bhati Jamalgarh BRAC Primary Board School. This school is situated in Tahirpur, Sunamganj, and it is selected among the other 99 schools across the world. In coming 30 minutes, you will get to know how this school has become resilient to climate change, focusing on well-being. Let's first know more about T4.
Hello, my name is Vikas Pota. The reason why we're organizing this global showcase for World Education Week is we believe that schools have incredible expertise in making sure that learning outcomes improve. Given the state of the world, we want to see the expertise from this particular school being replicated in schools all over our planet so that the world becomes better for everyone. That is why I congratulate this school for what it does and hope that those listening can take away conclusions as to how they should actually approach their own improvement journeys. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you in many of the other events this. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting this incredible work, without whom we couldn't have put together this global showcase. Thank you, and I wish you well for this event.
Fast-paced social, economic and technology-driven change is redefining our world. And having a broad range of skills such as creativity and problem solving has become far more important than being able to memorize information. To redefine how our children learn and to empower them for the future, parents, teachers and policymakers must stop overlooking a powerful part of the solution: learning through play. Play is the rocket fuel of child development, and there is a growing body of evidence to support that play is fundamental for children's positive growth and well-being over time. It is also an essential way to foster the skills required to thrive in today's world. The LEGO Foundation aims to build a future in which learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. To do so, we work with a range of partners around the world to change the hearts and minds of all of those who influence children's lives through our programs, research and advocacy, so they can all embrace the transformative power of play. Examples of what we do include making sure that caregivers, practitioners and policymakers understand the importance of play, investigating, testing and scaling new ways to bring play-based learning into homes and schools, using play to help millions of the world's most vulnerable children cope with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress, or conducting research with some of the world's leading research institutions. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more.
Language connects us all. It's how friendships are formed, ideas are shared, and lessons are learned. Language is how we find understanding and express love. It's how we communicate our successes, both big and small. It lays the groundwork for learning and growth. And for an increasingly diverse student population, it can be the key to achievement in school and beyond. That's why Rosetta Stone Education is dedicated to language and literacy. We offer solutions designed to support teachers and their emergent bilingual students, recognizing and celebrating the knowledge, culture, and languages they bring to our classrooms. Our products are founded on the adaptive blended learning model for individual needs, continuous progress monitoring for better learning outcomes, and culturally responsive pedagogies for more inclusive classrooms. With solutions aligned with proficiency standards, we support language learning while exploring academic subject areas, paving the way to better outcomes. Because for all of us, language is everything.
Dear T4 community, we talk a lot about teachers these days, but we rarely listen to them. Therefore, I'm truly excited to join the T4 World Education Week to hear from teachers and school leaders all over the world how we can impact learning together. I'm particularly looking forward to the Global Showcase. 100 schools sharing their expertise and best practices, I believe, will be a huge motivation for other schools around the globe. I'm equally impressed by the T4 Solutions Challenge, its finalists and their solutions to real-world issues in education. This gives me hope that we can, together, turn around education globally. The Jacobs Foundation is a proud supporter of the T4 World Education Week because we share a vision to reimagine learning and education by bringing together the brightest people who understand how children learn. Let's do this together.
Up alive. Up.
We are very happy that in this wonderful initiative by T4, 3 BRAC schools have been selected to showcase its work and expertise. And we are very happy that today's event, our chief guest is the Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Primary and Mass Education, Mohammad Zakir Hussain MP. As we were saying, today we are here to showcase one of the 100 schools selected globally to share its expertise and best practices during this World Education Week. And today's school is from Tahirpur of Sunamganj, Bhati Jamalgarh BRAC Primary Board School. And may I request Honorable Minister of State to say a few words to our global audience on this special occasion and formally inaugurate the event. May I request the State Minister, Mohammad Zakir Hussain.
Thank you very much. Dear national and international audience, happy Teachers Day. We all know that today is a significant day for all, particularly for the whole global teaching community. I am extremely happy to learn that T4, a global forum for teachers collaboration and teachers development, is observing World Education Week beginning from today, and it will continue till 9th October. As part of World Education Week, T4 arranged an international online conference on 30 May this year, in which around 1700 teachers from Bangladesh participated, where BRAC Education played a vital role as BRAC has partnered with it. Undoubtedly, it's a novel initiative on the part of T4 to stage World Education Week. On this occasion, they have chosen 100 schools from across the globe to showcase the best practices of these schools and promote a higher and better standard of education. I must offer my heartfelt thanks to T4 choosing 3 schools from Bangladesh. Today, Bangladesh is showcasing Bhati Jamalgarh BRAC Primary Board School, Tahirpur, Sunamganj, and its themes is making schools more resilient to climate change, focusing on well-being. Bhatti Jamalkar School is a Bragg primary board school is situated in the remotest northeastern part of Bangladesh that remains underwater more than half of the year. Bragg, the largest NGO in the world, has adopted a innovative way to run education of the children living in the waterlogged area where parents don't find ways to send their children to schools. Board schools has come up with a new solution to collect the children from their homes, offer them schooling and get the children back to their homes after the breakup. In the adverse natural situation, these children receive education in a secure environment that gives them an exclusive way of security and hope of life. Well, it is to be mentioned that Bangladesh has one of largest school education system around the globe. In the primary level, there are around 1 to 4 million students and more than 500,000 teachers. We achieved around 90% NEET enrollment rate in 2019. Government has been working hard to ensure quality education for all. You will be happy to know that the government is continued to place a sufficient number of teachers in our schools for ensuring quality education. In the last year, around 18,000 teachers were recruited and many more are under. Hopefully, Bangladesh will achieve the student-teachers ratio of 30:1 by 2030 SDG period. Dear audience, 2020 is that year that has seen an unprecedented crisis across the globe, and the World Teachers' Day is being observed with the theme teachers leading in crisis, remaining the future, seems relevant to the current global scenario. The impact of COVID-19 restriction has gone beyond effective classroom learnings and school closures, limit children's interaction with others, playing in the field, moving freely and coming into contact with teachers and enjoying overall school's environment. Such a situation could potentially lead to stigma of prejudice. Students don't have usual movement, sharing environment with their classmates, normal briefing and playing space. This forces restriction exert serious effect on their body and mind, leading to mental agony. The government of Bangladesh has taken several mentionable steps to keep the students and enjoy their time during the school's closure due to COVID-19 pandemic. Pre-recorded classes are being broadcast through TV and radio. Besides that, teachers of primary school have been seeing students using social media such as YouTube as an effort to reduce learning loss and social impact. Moreover, teachers have been advised to keep communication with the guardians over phones to reduce the assumed dropout from school. Training stands as a primary step to develop capacity of the teachers so that they can perform well in the classroom. The capacity to train teachers requires significant national investments. You know that the father of the nation, Bangladesh, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, nationalized all the private primary school at that time just after independence to ensure education for all. Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina time and time again has expressed her commitment to be a developed country by 2041. To achieve the goal, we need to have an educated and skilled generation. Thus, teachers are the core drivers to achieve the dream. In this context, we need to have a system which ensure continuous professional development of teachers. The professional development of teachers must not be limited to a traditional trend, rather it should be designed to handle digital platform as a means teaching. Recently, Ministry of Primary and Mass Education introduced online training programs for teachers. I will request all the concerned to think about designing training programs for the teachers in a way as the needs of the country and enable them to counter the unfortunate situation they are going to face. I do hope the teacher coming to primary level teaching should acquire the quality of using technological devices. Finally, let me inaugurate today's showcasing event and hope its success. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of State, for your speech and inaugurating today's event.
Thank you.
Now, let me introduce you to the panelists of today's event, the other panelists. We have here Dr. Shafiqul Islam, Director, BRAC Education Program, and we also have Professor Mahbuba Nasreen, who is the faculty member of Institute of Disaster Management and Vulnerability Studies and a researcher of Dhaka University. They will tell us about the special features of the Bhati, the school we will be featuring today, Bhati Jamalgarh BRAC Primary Board School, which made it a model of resilience to climate change, focusing on well-being. Let's take a look at the school, Bhati Jamalgarh.
Tahirpur is one of the low-lying Haur areas of Bangladesh in the northwest side. It is among the country's most marginalized and climate change affected areas. The land here is only about 1 meter above sea level. Due to monsoon rain, flood and flash flood, it remains submerged for more than half of the year. The area is consisting of some clusters of 10 to 12 houses. Such geographical features and the climate change impact make it very difficult for children to access and complete their education. Children remain locked into the houses. This is a vital reason for the high dropout in this area. Over half of its population are illiterate. How can we make schools accessible to these Haur children? How can we make schools more resilient to climate change? If children cannot go to school, can the school go to them? That is the inception story of Board School. The board became the classroom as well as the school bus to pick and drop the students. Bharti Jamalgore Bragg Primary Boat School started in 2013. The boat has a unique infrastructure. Its soundproof steel body supports smooth class hours without being hampered by the waves. 30 children can read, write, and even dance at a time inside it. Life jackets, rings, and first aid boxes are there for safety precautions. It doesn't sink even while the water is on the rise due to floods. It is anchored in a safe place during any emergency. Look inside. The beautiful decoration is done by the students and the teachers. A mini library. Also, a science corner on the roof. It is designed to make a joyful school for the children to bloom. A school turned to be the light of hope to the region. Every day, school starts with the national anthem and oath. All the teachers here are female. She is an idol to her children. Her careful mentoring nurtures all their learning and personality. 600 board schools were established in 16 low-lying districts across the country. This model is also replicated in the Philippines. Climate change is the biggest global crisis we have ever faced. This school is an innovation to make sustainable solutions to face the global crisis, climate change.
Thank you, 100 TD.
In 2017, Board School was named as one of the 100 most innovative education projects across the world by the global education non-profit organization 100. Bharti Jamalgore is a source of inspiration to all of us, a lead to a better world and a better future where no child will be left behind, even living in a floating land.
Bharti Jamalgore is a source of inspiration to all of us indeed. Dr. Shafiqul Islam is the director of Bragg Education Program in Bangladesh, which is the world's largest secular education system. Dr. Shafiqul Islam, as you know, today's theme is making schools more resilient to climate change, focusing on well-being. We know that education contributes to the holistic development of the children. And Dr. Islam, we can see in the video that though, situated in an adverse condition, Bharti Jamalgore School is also focusing a lot on the well-being of the children. Can you please tell us how are you relating the education system with the well-being of the children?
Bhai live.
Thank you, Navanita Chaudhary, and thanks to our State Minister for inaugurating the program. I congratulate to all teachers around the world on this very special day of Teachers' Day, because they are the people who really are the starter for the children to have a dream for the rest of their life. As Navanita Chaudhary made a point that it's the holistic development that we consider fundamental for a child to start their education. And our founder, Sir Fazle Hasan Abed, was particular that the education that Bragg a school would be providing to the remotest part of the country would be an approach of holistic education. Now, what is our narratives to the holistic approach? It's very similar to what we see around the world. It includes intellectual well-being of every single child. It includes social and emotional well-being of children. It includes environmental well-being, and it covers, of course, the physical well-being of children. Now, what does this intellectual well-being stands for? It stands for a competency-based curriculum that the Bangladesh offers to all children at the primary level. So we are absolutely guided by the national curriculum. Two, we are particular about the choices so that children can make at the early stage of their life. And in order to ensure that performing and fine art is an integral element of our intellectual well-being of the children. The third, of course, very important, a moral education, so that they learn right at the early years of their life that there is something called a moral, a responsible behavior that is asked for. Let me also touch the social and emotional well-being. The social and emotional well-being are ensured through a decision made that all of our teachers in our school system are women, which ensures that every single child in the classroom feels very safe because it's a motherly, it's a sisterly touch to them. And fortunately, the teacher comes from the same community as our children do. The second very important part is a safe environment that we offer them in the school. The world community should be glad to know that right at the beginning that we started our school in the 80s, physical torture in any form was a taboo in Black school and considered almost a zero tolerance. Finally, fundamentally important that our learning mechanism within the classroom that we call pedagogy, group work, peer support are integrated into the whole classroom setting. This is a work that are being done under the facilitation of the teacher. Now, in order to touch the environmental well-being of the children, as we have seen in the board, it is a board, but offers enough space to every single child so that they can move, they can interact, and they can do that even networking within the classroom system. And finally, the kind of safety protocols which are needed for all child. Let me also touch the kind of learning outcome. This is a fundamental and very critical to all of us. And this learning outcome assessment is done through both formative and summative assessment. More focus and more attention is given on the formative assessment so that children continuously improve, make the necessary corrections, and grow with very confidence. Thank you, Chaudhary. I'll stop here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shafiqul Islam, Dr. Shafiqul Islam, for letting us know in detail about how this extraordinary school actually operates. Let's hear from a parent about how does she feel about the school, Bhati Jamalgarh School.
গাছ লাগানি শিখছেন শিক্ষা বাড়িতে গাছ লাগায় সঞ্চয় তোলা হইয়া এই বাচ্চা কাচ্চা আশ কিনছে না আশ কিনে একটা অবস্থা উন্নতি হচ্ছে
Now I'll go to Professor Mahbooba Nasreen. It's really worth knowing how a holistic view can contribute to the development of our children and explore their potential. if we go back to the theme that says making school more resilient to climate change. Professor Nasreen, you are an expert in this field, and as far as we know, you also led a research on this boat school last year. So we would like to hear from you regarding this, and how do you think this Bhatti Jamalgarh school has become a model in resilience to climate change?
Thank you very much, Napunita. And we have been listening to the Honorable Deputy Minister of Primary and Mass Education, and also Director of BRAC Education Program, Shopikul. Now I feel privileged to get a space to talk something like of my area of specialization, that I had a scope to do research. And wherever we start, like we started from environment, then disaster management and climate change. So what the point, first thing I would like to say that the school, from our point of view, the school culture of resilience. Why we need to be resilient, that we all know, because we have to be environment friendly, and we have to face the challenges of climate change issues. So you know that BRAC has gone with the policy of no plastic usage from its head office to schools. So this is one of the several climate resilient habits that we have observed that both schools also adopted. So the students of this school are aware of recycling. They know how to reduce and reuse those disposed waste. So, and we have also seen the school incorporated regional curriculum and climate change or environmental education materials. You know that there are vulnerabilities, different kind of vulnerabilities, geographical, then socio-economic, and also for children there are specific vulnerabilities. So if they have to face the challenges of climate change, they are ready for combating the consequences of climate change, because the school is giving them transformation or transforming towards a sustainable future. So that's how this is a different or unique to say. And we have also observed, or you all know, that the school days, like a start, like we have seen in the documentary also, that they play national anthem, they sing national anthem, they are respecting the flags, and they are taking oaths. So this determination begins with the oath, then determination to build the country, to serve humanity. So we have also seen that students participate in different like disaster-related responses, preparedness, like emergency and earthquake preparedness, etc., as a part of their academic system. So usually they complete their academic. We know that primary education is for 5 years, but in this school, both schools, they complete within 4 years. But we thought that there will be compromise with the content, competency, or skills, or quality of education. That's how I'm working since long. But we have seen that that is so planned, the school curriculum and the teaching methods, etc. So they plan that these to maintain the age limit for their next level education, as they are unenrolled or dropout students sometimes. And we always advocate for a flexible calendar, and like vulnerable to climate change and disasters, and always waterlogged, and it's risk for students to move here and there. So that's the class or flexible class hour, flexible calendar is maintained based on the climate or weather variability. And these students are like I don't know, I haven't done much in this board school during the pandemic period, but what we have heard that even during the pandemic, they are taught with basic phones and start class with well-being activities. So along with students, parents are also sensitized before and after an emergency. And finally, in this point, I'd like to say that teachers are specifically or specially trained with focusing on safety measure, and that is another unique feature of both school. And I think I should stop now.
I'll get back to you again, Professor Mahbooba Nasreen, and thank you for telling us about the wonderful, unique features of Bhati Jamalgarh School. But now let's hear from a student at the school.
আমরা এই স্কুলে পড়ে নানান কিছু শিখেছি, যেমন বজ্রপাত থেকে কিভাবে বাঁচতে হয়, ভূমিকম্প থেকে কিভাবে বাঁচতে হয়, সেটা আমি বাসায় গিয়ে মা বাবাকেও শেখাই, পাড়া পড়শিদেরকেও শেখাই, আবার ছোট ভাই বোনদেরকেও শেখাই।
Professor Mahbooba Nasreen, I want to go back to you again. We have learned about how the school is addressing well-being and promoting a resilient culture. A student just described what they're learning to protect the environment. We would like to hear about how the school is actually shaping the characters and other skills of the children. Because we know, along with other adaptive skills, 21st century skills are also very important for today's learners. Professor Nasreen, would you please give some insight from your research regarding that?
Thank you very much. In fact, my research on disaster management and climate change started late research. We have also that there is a primary education development program and realities. These disaster management and climate change are not that much highly talked about in Bangladesh like 10-20 years before. 20 years before, you can say. So what we saw that these students, even living in the waterlogged reality, they are the learning champions. Why? Because we have seen that approximately every year the passing rate is around 99%, and the result is better than the I should say that National Primary School has already been like improved a lot, and I think there also we have achieved the MDG goal in achieving the goal for access to primary education and secondary education, gender parity. But sometimes their results, the both results are better, and they got also scholarship for outstanding performance at national level. Some of so allow me show this generation all the time, because it's not only book-based or class-based, classroom-based academic institutions. You have to be a good human being who also be familiarized or performance be shown in the future world. Students are in music, drama, drawing, crafting, and many other part of their every. They learn to work in a team. They are learning as a peer group. They are helping each other, and that's why their routine, everyday routine, is a group work. And what we have seen that there is a leader or mentor for every group, so they also achieve the leadership traits as well. And there are so many performances they informed when we talk with parents, with the government officials, also with the union Parishad level leaders and elites, and the students, teachers, that they can perform in front of a large audience without hesitation. So that's how they are learning. So this all contribute to developing the 21st century skills such as communication skill, like Navonita, you have like achieved already because you are also a debater, I know. So the collaboration, the creativity and critical thinking. And these students are learning this, so that the motto of their life is to be a good human being. That's what I understood.
Professor Mahbooba Nasreen, it's really great to know that children of the last mile area are also developing so wonderfully in a floating school. Also, they're achieving wonderful academic results. As you have mentioned, they're getting national scholarships, and sometimes they're doing on an average better result than the other schools, and they're also learning other creative performances. Most of all, they're getting ready for the 21st century. We would like to hear one last thing from Professor Nasreen. As an expert in the field, can you tell us whether such a school can bring any hope to the inevitable future? To be specific, the future we are heading due to climate change.
About 150 million people in the world will be under the waterline during the high tide by 2050, or sea level rise will be there. And we have so many predictions, expected intergovernmental panel on climate change. And we know that about Bangladesh, the rising sea level will submerge an additional director of the Institute of Disaster Management and Vulnerability Studies. I understand that our research says that devastating floods, cyclones and other environmental disasters, they are directly linked with climate change, and that's how we are also observing that this is threatening our lives and futures of more than 19 million children in Bangladesh. A UNICEF study already identified. So in such a coming reality, or harsh reality, I should say, what else could be better but to educate a generation through something like a boat school? And what we have seen that BRAC boat schools were established in 16 low-lying districts across the country. And this model is also replicated in other countries like the Philippines. So in 2017, you have already mentioned that boat schools were named as one of the 100 most innovative education projects across the world by the Global Education non-profit organization 100. And I wish that journey should go on and it's going on, and it should be a model for the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Mahbooba Nasreen. We are almost at the end of our panelist discussion, so I would like to hear Dr. Shafiqul Islam once again for the last question for this part, that as a leader in the education sector, while envisioning a better world or a better future, where do you see this school or the boat schools in general? Because Professor Nasreen just mentioned that there are now 600 boat schools in 16 low-lying districts across the country, and it's already replicated in the Philippines. Dr. Shafiqul Islam.
Thank you, Chaudhary. Let me join Dr. Mahbooba Nasreen where she stopped. Floating school is a school of aspiration. What we have seen in the video when you started the whole conversation, the girls dancing, not only just attending their lessons. The reason I mention it, we could all see that there is an equity issue here, and we are very particular about it. So it's not only the remote learning, remote situation, remote part of the country. It also we ensure that there is at least 50% girl in every single floating school. In fact, this is a general protocol for all BRAC schools. The second thing we take care is the disability children. One of the child has to be a disabled child in the school. Otherwise, BRAC will not start a school in that particular community. We want to make sure that no one is left behind. And that is a principle that we have to ensure. And That's why it is very fundamental that these children see a light at the end of their life, see a hope for a better life. And how we ensure that? We ensure, first of all, what Dr. Nasreen was saying, is academic result is important. It's also very important, as you rightly touched, the whole confidence of the children, whether they are really prepared for the future of a world which is very uncertain. We all know the future of a world where the challenges are mounting. The fundamental skill that works is a level of confidence. And of course, offering those skills which are framed under 21st century skills. We encourage our children to present, to talk, and to formulate. And teacher makes sure that it takes place, and teachers make sure that it works. How it works? There is a monthly meeting with the parents where the teacher would be reporting and sharing how the children are doing in her school, and how this month is different compared to the earlier months, where the new things are coming, what are the new issues are, where the emerging problems are. This is fundamentally important so that parents take a stake in the education of their children. We know for sure that no school can alone do the job that a human development approach is required. The third is the impact of this education. How do we ensure that? The immediate level of impact would be making the children aware of certain kind of consequences. Consequences, for instance, the early marriage, consequences of dowry, consequences of not to have empathy, consequences of not to have collaborative efforts. So it goes hand in hand that as they grow from one grade to another grade, because he said almost an approach that a teacher stays with the same group of children for a period of 4 years. And this is a very special factor in the floating school, just like in any other bracket school. So this enables the teacher that she sees how the children are growing, how the behavioral changes are taking place. And I would like to really underline, because it's essentially the behavioral change, what is expected from a good quality education, besides the anticipated academic result that they have to perform and achieve, because that's an instrument for the subsequent higher grade. But building for them more for the real life is an equally important thing. And for the floating school in particular, because they come from an area where water dominates life for the 6 to 7, 8 months. So this is a very special circumstances. And we are very particular that those situations are well captured by our supplementary curriculum, which are offered through what we call a regional curriculum. So a child in the urban slum would be getting an exposure and understanding how slum life is different. Similarly, a child in the floating school would be taught the key features of the Howrah Belt, the waterlogged areas, how to really cope with it, and what are the good things that they have, because they have a lot of resources also in that, and that resources offer a lot of skill to them, so that they naturally learn from their own environment and taking a pride that every single context has a pride of their own. Thank you, Chaudhary. I'll stop here.
Dr. Islam and Professor Mahbooba Nasreen, you both will be very encouraged to know that, while you were discussing the special features of this school, we have received 220 questions from the global audience, and we have selected here 3 questions which we want to ask you now. I will start with Dr. Islam, and the question is, how can this type of schools, the board schools, be established all over the riverine area of Bangladesh?
It's a simple solution. Simple solution in the sense that it has to be contextualized. In our case, we know in Bangladesh, the typical boards are made by wood. But in our situation, as you have seen, it was made out of steel. The reason we had to make out of steel to ensure that it is safe for the children and it does not kind of lose the balance when there is a web. It does not lose the balance when the children would be performing a dance. So it was, we had to engage the architect and the engineers so that we have a proven kind of design for it. So, and we have done it very differently in case of Philippines. What we have seen in the initial video, that the 2 designs are not same. So it has to be a very contextual one and adjusting to the local cultures.
What would you regard as the main challenges for these board schools? Because we have heard the good things and the achievements, but what were the main challenges?
One of the biggest challenges is a atypical solution, because when we typically think of a school, we essentially think of a kind of building infrastructure that where we are accustomed to, that where is a typical conventional norm is. So that education take place anywhere, including within a board. So this is one of the big challenges. Second is an initial establishment cost. Fortunately, if we compare, constructing a board takes much shorter period of time than construction of a school in a plain land area. In fact, if we compare that cost, it's not higher than construction of a building. So it's a kind of mindset that is a fundamentally important area that we have to address.
Thank you, Dr. Islam. Professor Nasreen, I think you have mentioned that in your description before, but still we would like to know a bit more about how were the learners of this Bragg Board School were supported during the period of COVID-19. You mentioned that, of course, you didn't have a chance to go there and see, but you were in touch, and you were saying that the schools are generally prepared for for addressing the disaster or emergency situation. If you tell us a bit more about that.
What we have learned from the experiences of pandemic, like all over Bangladesh, the online based teaching or providing lessons has all been started, and the school children are learning through like using technology, but television they don't have, but they have the phones, maybe parents or elderly, but all do not have access to this technology. But specifically the both school children, what I have heard, they are connected with the teacher from the central, and also the teachers are providing lessons even from the remote location to the students. So they are continuing their education in this way. That's what I learned, and I know there are difficulties, but still technologically Bangladesh, specifically the mobile technology and other technology, communication has been very improved, and I believe that Bragg is the education, because we have to keep in touch with the students even to the not having exams. but through the connectivity they started to establish with the co-curricular.
And I'm sure it is more important for those schools where, you know, the dropout crisis and maybe, you know, the crisis for girl children are even more acute. Professor Nasreen, how would you summarize the major accomplishments of this school?
Okay, we have already discussed that there are different unique features of this school. Like I have already mentioned that there is nothing like front benchers or back benchers in the both schools. So all are equal, girls, boys, and this is one of the unique features that I thought. And the co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities are very much enjoyable by the students, and we have so many voices of students that they don't want to miss their schools, and parents say even we cannot cook due to a flood, but our children are interested, keen to go there because they are not confining with the within the academic books only. And both school also focusing on the safety and security concerns of the students specifically, and the relationship, the healthy teacher-student relationship. You know that all the teachers are female there, and
Thank you, Professor Nasreen. I think we have discussed the major accomplishments already, and I think Dr. Islam, it says enough when, you know, the school even doesn't stop during the flood. You know, the children continue to go to school, you know, every day, even during the floods. So thank you all for describing Bhati Jamalgarh Brack Boat School so nicely, and we have heard about the great features of the school. The school is addressing well-being holistically. It is promoting a culture of resilience, nurturing personal and adaptive skills of the students. It became an answer to similar areas affected by climate change, and the school is anchoring dream for a better future. This is really worth knowing how a well-thought, holistic and organized approach can make a school more resilient to the inevitable climate change impact, focusing on well-being. This could be a great source of inspiration to all of us striving for innovation and ideas to make sustainable solutions for a better world and a better future. That is why it was great to share the work and expertise of Bhati Jamalgarh Brack Boat School of Tahirpur, Sunamganj. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.